Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shikikan Frontline, episode number 8. Where this month, or not this month, I guess this podcast, we're going to be talking about the things that happened in the month of January, March, April, May. Is it May? I think it's May. I think that's the 5th month. We're going to just go with May. We're going to be talking about the things that happened in the month of May. More specifically, deep dive and all of its entails and all the good stuff that's going to be happening with that on the podcast. So just for a quick little brief review of what has been going on in the past month, we're going to start off with the second to latest, I guess, monthly roadmap. Here we see this. These are the things that happened in May. We had the anniversary login event where we got a True Court mask, which enabled us to get one 5-star character of our choice that was a producible character. No collab, no whatever type of specific event units 5/7 wasn't able to get, but if they were producible, we could get them with that. We had the costume lucky bag, which, pay X amount of money. You could get, a chance for, specific skins. And, many people did that. And so, you had a chance for that. We also had the resupply gacha that had the DSR skin and the Grizzly Live 2D. Both fantastic, beautiful skins. And then we had standard and heavy rate-up productions for what felt like everything between normal production for T-Dolls, the heavy production for T-Dolls, the equipment, normal production for equipment, and then the fairy / heavy equipment production. It felt like everything got a little bit of a rate up, quote unquote rate up, which, by the way, let me go ahead and segment off of this real quick. They said that it was a rate up for fairies, which I do not believe. There ain't no way that it was a rate up for it, just because if you take a look at it, and I'm over here pulling for fairies before, and I'm hitting 2 out of the 3. Every time that I roll 3 for the fairies, hit 3 rolls, and I'm hitting 2 out of 3 fairies, or I'm hitting 1 out of 3 fairies. And you mean to tell me that when the rate up hits, you mean to tell me I'm gonna hit 6 fairies out of 45 plus rolls? Ain't no way. Who you trying to sell that lie to? So there ain't no way that it was a rate up. I'm just saying, if you got lucky, I don't like you right now. Maybe at the end of the podcast I might like you, but right now, you ain't my favorite person in the world. So we just gonna have to move on with that. Then, of course, we did have the anniversary point event in which we did get Kalina's costume. So that was the roadmap for last month. Then we go ahead and take a look at the things that we did have. Like I said, we had the 1-year anniversary celebration that gave us the rate up for so many things. And man, it honestly came at a very awkward timing, because while this was going on for the rate up for T-Doll production, equipment production, heavy T-Doll, heavy equipment, when this was going on, we had deep dive the entire time. So we were going through the story, full resupplying units. We were doing the ranking event, full resupplying, for me, 10 squads. Some people, maybe less, maybe around 6 squads. Some folks had like 5. And so, you're full resupplying that, doing the ranking event. And then you get hit with this, and then it's like, bro, please, no more. And so, they had the rate up, which I think for me, I don't remember if it popped off for me. That's how unimpactful the rate up was. If anything, the biggest thing, like I said, for me was the fairy thing. That one just destroyed me. I don't think I went too hard for the T-Doll production. I think I got RFB there. I think that's where I got RFB. Other than that, I don't remember too much about it, but I'm sure I got like one other person, but it wasn't anything like spectacular for me. So then moving on from that, we had the first anniversary login event. This is how we got the True Court mask, which I 100% got trolled. I thought when I saw that picture of M4A1, I was like, oh my god, they're giving us the dupe M4A1 here. Oh, They changed their mind. Ah! But then I read between the lines, and I took a step back, and it said anniversary icon, and I was like, all right, bad game, move on to the next one. And of course, that's how we did get the true core mask. So the nice little anniversary login bonuses, those were really cool and things of that nature. And then last but not least, what I do want to go over is going to be the first anniversary review, the statistical review, and just glance over what has happened in 1 year. So it says a total number of Segmospheric units destroyed is going to be 3,263,737,328. We got the T-Doll that was the most oathed was FAL. The most owned live 2D costume is the Starry Cocoon, which I'm going to be honest with you, that's very weird how that works out. Because if we skip down a few, it says the furniture pieces exchanged the most was the Light in the Night Sky, which I believe that was the same as a Type 95 Live 2D. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is. And so with that being said, I'm surprised that the most owned is not Type 95 Live 2D. But going back to the Starry Cocoon Live 2D, I'll tell y'all this. When the Prairie Allures, or whatever it's called, was in the Radiant Collection, there we go. When that was in the Radiant Collection, and I had the Live 2D challenge with free Typhoid, I turned around and I was like, I don't know what possessed me to roll Radiant. I'd never roll Radiant. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a Radiant pull. I'm going to do 3. So I did my first one. Of course, I didn't get anything. I wasn't expecting anything. I rolled the second one, and instantly, I turned around and got the 416 Live 2D, and I was like, well, okay, Bobby, let's go. And so, I'm a proud contributor of this stat right here. So, hey, we out here. Yeah. So while it took people multiple tokens and multiple black cards, only took me 2 Radiant. So I'm gonna say worth. So that was really cool for me. Then moving on, it says the T-Doll exchange with the most true core mask is gonna be Sat 8. I mean, let's be real. Who else would it be? I think that was the most obvious one right there. Is gonna be Sat 8. The highest number of oaths performed by a single commander. That means one dude oath 222 units in this game. Now that is Omega whale status. To oath, I would like to assume he's got one of every single character, or he's just got multiples of multiple characters duped on top of that as well. So I mean, 222 oaths. Shout out to that man, keeping the EN server afloat. I ain't even gonna hate on the man. Thank you. Then it does say the costume exchange the most with black cards is going to be the Starry Cocoon, which to me that's still a little insane, a little unbelievable. But hey, I'm down to clown. It says the most popular resupply gacha was the Young Girls in the Sea, which is going to be the one that had a WA2K, the summer skins for that one. So I mean, hey, by all means, I think that was actually the first gacha roll or gacha batch, that I was in the game for on my main account. And so I remember I was like, man, hey, I was talking to my senpai, hey Willie, waifu Willie, shout out to him. Hey Willie, should I buy the WA2K and the Type 95 packages? And he was like, man, I don't know about all that. And then he was like, well, should I do a roll on it? And he's like, yeah, 1 or 2 rolls ain't gonna hurt you. How many tokens you got? 200-300 tokens. Yeah, man, sure, go for it. Why not? It ain't gonna hurt nothing. And dude, I ended up getting 5/7 skin. And then I just missed out on 5/7. And so I had to wait like 8 months before she came back. And then I was able to finally give her skin. So that was, really happy about that one. But anyway. The T-Doll that is max level by most commanders is going to be M4A1, which, I mean, she is the protagonist of the story. But, I mean, hey, I'm not going to hate on that. I oath M4A1 myself. She is my second oath. So, hey, by all means, why would I hate on that? So, I think that is really cool. Now, moving on to a segment which, of course, I didn't do in the last podcast because that was purely deep dive related podcast. But something that, of course, that I did not forget, nor will I forget, is going to be the dorm section. And so, thank y'all for everybody who did submit dorms. This is something that, I think is always going to be fun. I think it's cool just seeing different concepts for how people, create their dorms or decorate their dorms. I think is always really cool because the way that I decorate my dorms completely different than that dude over there or that person over there, that player over there. So I got 6 dorms that I thought were really cool. I thought the concepts of it were really cool, or I thought they were just funny, and so we gonna check them out today. The first dorm that we got is gonna be Rorosar. Rorosar. Man, see why y'all gotta be putting names like this, man. Y'all be having these difficult ass names that's like but this man's dorm, I must say, hey, you get the boys together, have a good night, got some snacks, got some, some place to chill, got some games in the background. I think we pimping, man. So, I really like this one a lot. It reminds me a little bit of college when I was with the lads, with my IRL lads. Sometimes we'd land together, play some league, play some, just play some games, hang out, whatever. Definitely reminds me of this. So, hey, shout out to this man. Really digging this dorm right here. Moving on to our second dorm is going to be the one and only Pastor Dumplings. Again, following kind of the same thing, except this time, however, I feel like with all the wall scrolls or the posters or however you want to say it, I feel like that's a little bit about my room. I got my computer, I got my posters and my wall scrolls, and then we got everything else, and we just chilling, man. It's a big chill. And so I'm really like this room as well. The gaming concept. Hey man, hey, we out here. Okay, going on to dorm 3, we have Hecht. We got Hecht. Now, one thing that I gotta call this man out on is how you gonna take a picture of his room and not take the hearts for your dolls. Now, you're gonna have to excuse me because I am a filthy affection farmer, and I think I only have. Let me see. We get 5 T-dolls, 5. I think I've got like 12 T-dolls left until everybody's at 100 or higher. If you don't want to count the ones that I'm just leveling from 100 affection upwards to 150 because they're oath, I think I got about 10 T-dolls left. And so your boy, a filthy affection farmer, and seeing these hearts here chilling hurts me. It hurts me a lot. Okay, and so with that being said, I think this room looks fantastic. If anything, it gives me like a more JP style, with the little, I don't know, dude, I don't know what it's called, but it's got like the little desk, and it's got like the little heater underneath it, and you can just chill underneath it. And it was on Kobayashi's Dragon Maid on that anime. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I want to say it's a Kotatsu, but I could be wrong. But I mean, hey, I get the vibes of Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, okay? But instead of an apartment, it's like more OG, like JP style, okay? So like, hey, we out here rocking and rolling, and we got the big chill. Even got somebody over here sleeping, man. Having a party going on one side of the crib, and then sleeping on the other side. I'm gonna say worth. I like this dorm a lot. Moving onward to dorm number 4, we do have Linad. Now this one, very simple, very chill. We got the pets over here with the in the bedroom, I guess in the bedroom area. You know what I'm saying? Then we got like the people over here chilling, eating like some food or drinking some tea or some whatever. And this kind of reminds me, I'm sure y'all been in this situation. Your parents, have some company over, but you don't want to talk to them. So you just be chilling in your room, be hungry as a mug, but you just don't want to go out. And so you know what you do? You just take you a nice little nap. And then before you know it, they gone and you can get up and get your food. Now, you ain't been in that situation before. Why you lying to me? Because I know you have. I feel like everybody's been in that situation before. If anything, I know I have. So, hey, I took me my nice little nap, woke up, they gone. All right, bet. Go get my food and chill, man. So, this one, I was just like, hey, I resonate with that. You feel me? So I like this room a lot. I like that a lot, man. Going on to dorm number 5. Now, yo, this is what I'm talking about. What's going on here, man? Yo, this man, hey, you already know. We got the little spring, or like the little hot tub, I guess. And we got the lighting and the camera. I ain't gonna say what else goes on, but y'all know the business. Yo, this had me tickled. Dude, I was dying laughing, dude. When I saw this, I said, there ain't no way that I can't not show this. Because this dorm right here, dude, is big chill. It's big popping, dude. Y'all already know the business. So I really like this dorm, dude. I think the lighting is from the wedding skin. But, dude, this is like the best way to just like big laughs, dude. Big laughs. I love this dorm. And then for the last and final featured dorm, we are going to have Taz, or Tashad. I don't know. He just said call him Taz in the Discord, so you know that's how I remember. But let me tell y'all something. I ain't never seen a dorm that looked like it could have been in a castle, or could have had some type of royalty, that you just ice fishing in the middle of the room. Now, that's what just caught me off guard. I said, I was looking at it and I said, okay, got some posters, got some decorations. And then I turned around and I said, hold up, what we all gathering around this? I said, yo, why are we out here fishing in the middle of the room? I mean, somebody's sitting on a seal, it looks like. Somebody's sitting underneath a little beach chair umbrella, and then you got the kotatsu, if that's what it's called, behind that person. People just chilling as if it's just normal. Man's out here, whoosh, got the little, having a little party just in, like, what you gonna catch, brother? And so then you got somebody sleeping just like 10 feet away. And so, this dorm right here, this tickled me to death. I love this dorm. I think it's hilarious. And dude, just imagine just me, like, what if I'm on stream one day, or I'm just like big chilling, and I'm just like, all right guys, we're just gonna go like ice fishing real quick. Okay, here we go. And then I just like put like, a little bait on the hook, and then and I'm just sitting here like, bruh. Yo, that's a real deal. What's going on? Like, dude, I can't get over that. I love that, dude. That is so funny to me. And I'm gonna be real, I wish I had that, because I would put that in one of my rooms, because that's just awesome to me. And so these are the 6 dorms that I wanted to feature for this month's podcast. Well, I guess, May's podcast. But those are the dorms that I wanted to feature. Of course, if you want to get featured, you can just go over to the Discord section. You can type into the botplayground.IAM space GFL. It'll give you access to the GFL portion of my Discord, and then you'll see over on the Discord the podcast, or like the dorms or something like that. Turn around and you can, submit your picture. Now, ideally, if it's possible, when you submit it, I think that was some chicken, man. That was awkward. Anyway, when you submit it, I'm pretty sure that, you can try to turn around and get the name in that top right hand corner. That'd be fantastic for me. Now, one thing that I did notice, and shout out to Dumplings, because that man will complain about literally anything. And he was like, yo, have you tried doing this yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you just got to share it. And he was like, bruh, do you know how difficult it is to be sharing this? Like, fam, what's going on? And so I turned around and I tried the process of it myself. And now, if you're on emulator, this is going to be a few more steps, unless you can find a faster way to it. But the way that I did it is, on my emulator, on LD Player, what I did was I would go into the dorm, and then I'd click share, and then it would stutter. It would like freeze frame for like 2 seconds. When I hit share, I just hit print screen on my keyboard. Then, I'd go to paint, and then I'd just crop out what I wanted to see, and then boom. So that way I'd have the name in it, but I don't have to fully share it. Now, like, is that a lot of work? Yeah. Is it worth it? I mean, hey, dude, you get shit featured on here. So, I mean, I think it's worth it. I think it's, for all, fun. Hey, give me some good dorms. Hey, I ain't never going to forget Zapmint's Dorm, I'm gonna tell y'all that right now, cause yo, that real deal, dude. Hey, that real deal. That's something else. So I mean, doing that for the emulator, I think is gonna be cool. As far as phones are concerned, if you got like a dummy Facebook account or something, you share it to there. But ideally speaking, I'd love to have the name in the top right hand corner, so it's easier for me to be like, oh yeah, hey, this is that person's dorm. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to like write it on there with my mouse, and it's just gonna be ugly. I don't want to take away from y'all's hard work and y'all's dorm. You feel me? But that'll be it for that. Going into the next section of what I want to talk about, we are going to have a special guest. Now, for those of y'all who hang out on the stream, y'all know the business. And for those of y'all who tuned in, to, I believe, either the last podcast or the podcast before, we have a guest with us. And y'all may know him as the one and the only Pastor Dumplings. Good sir, hello, are you there?
What's up? Praise the DR! What's up, bro?
Woo! What's up, baby? How you doing, man? Thanks for coming on to the podcast. What's going? Yeah, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. Hey, I always happy to be on the podcast, so hey, especially now that I'm winning.
Oh man, so y'all already know the business. We here to talk about Deep Dive, and now of course I gotta have this picture up because UMP40 in the story. Hey, I thought that it was fire, and I just like this picture overall. So going into the Deep Dive segment with my man Pastor Dumplings, you and I, man, we talk, dude. I think it was at least 3, 4, 5 hours about Deep Dive ranking map alone, and there were a lot of things that we came to conclusion and we came to talk about with. But before we get into any of that, now that Deep Dive is over and we can compare it, fully and truly to Arctic Warfare, what are your thoughts about Deep Dive and everything that we had to do with it, Pastor Dumplings?
I would say overall, this event was really, really fun and really, really good for the game. I think the community overall can agree with me when I say Arctic Warfare was not as good as Deep Dive, to put it nicely. Especially the way that you farmed the envelopes in Arctic Warfare, it was really frustrating and excruciating.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think we can both agree the crates were a lot easier and more enjoyable to get than the envelopes.
Hey, amen to that. Hey, say it one more time for the guy in the back. Woo, man. If y'all didn't go, look, let me tell y'all something. Hey, I got to praise I gotta call this man out on his dedication for them envelopes, because let me tell y'all something. Them envelopes in chapter 3. Let me tell you, your boy bowed out as soon as I got that second 5.7, because I was doing 3.4, and I think you were doing 3.2 in Arctic Warfare, right?
Yeah.
I was doing 3.4 with the boss map, and as soon as I got my second 5.7, I stopped doing chapter 3 altogether. This man was so crazy enough to turn around and do the entirety of the whole event on chapter 3 every single day. I cannot believe. I don't know. Why? Why would you do that?
I need those tokens, bro.
Yo, dude, I ain't mad at you, man. I should have seen it coming. When my man said he'll fight a dude on the freeway for a token, I had to see that one coming, man. I respect that a lot, dude. But before I cut you off, you were saying that it was much better than farming against the red envelopes. How was the? I don't know. Do you care about the story? Did you read it? Do you not read the story? How was the ranking map for you? Was that fun comparatively? What, you got any more thoughts about Deep Dive overall, or is that all for Deep Dive?
Story-wise, I'm not into the GFL story, unfortunately. I really should, especially as much time as I sink into this game. I should really sit down read the story, get into
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
From the people that I do know that read the story, say it was insane. It was really, it was super good. So I
Right.
mean, I can't judge that, but everyone's saying it's good, so I'm gonna trust them on that.
Mm-hmm.
With the ranking map, it was much better than Arctic Warfare.
Much
And
better.
that's from me getting top 100 on both,
Mm-hmm.
relatively the same spot too. Got
Mm-hmm.
55 on Arctic Warfare, 52 on Deep Dive. So
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, Arctic Warfare, everyone can agree it was just RNG.
Yeah, 100%.
Literally,
Mm-hmm.
the only reason why I got top 100 on Arctic Warfare was because I was on it every day, just praying to RNG. Just don't give me those dogs, no dogs. You know what I'm
Bruh.
saying? And
Oh, those dogs.
overall, Deep Dive was less RNG, but once we get into the like us talking more into the ranking map in depth, I'll talk to you about why I kind of think it's somewhat RNG
Okay.
and my overall like strategy on it and my like thoughts
Okay.
more in depth.
Okay. All right. So for me, Deep Dive was so much fun, dude. I cannot tell you, like, when I'm talking about, we go from, farming 02 all day, all night, and then going to Arctic Warfare. Dude, I thought Arctic Warfare was, like, sent from the heavens. I thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then we go back to 02. Got to go back to the slums. If y'all know, hey, for y'all that gambled the waifu points in the Twitch chat, if y'all know when I hit that hard reset and everybody went back to the slums together, farming them waifu points, man, that's what it felt like after Arctic Warfare. And I said, man, how you gonna give me the finest steak, the finest robes, the finest anything that you can imagine, and then you send me back out into the wilderness, man. I don't want to do it, man. And then I thought Arctic Warfare was fantastic, man. And then they gave me Deep Dive. Now, comparing the story from one another, I think it's just the continuity and it has to lead that way. And the story, oh my lord, the story, dude. I love the story. And so we had the story. And then the actual, like, story maps that we had to clear, dude. I cannot believe how much fun they were. When it came to Arctic Warfare, it was just a grind. It was just hard, put your nose to the grindstone and you just got to do it. And it wasn't really that fun. But dude, I'm telling you, there were maps throughout the story missions that were so much fun, dude. Of course, I went into it blind. I don't know if you did. But I was so engrossed and I was like figuring everything out. And I was like, oh man, yo, hey, this is what's going on over here. And yo, I got to check out for this. And dude, I was legit worried that I was going to fail one of the maps. Now, of course, that wouldn't mean anything. Like, that's no hurt to anything except my pride and my ego. But the fact that I was on my seat, like, having to be like, yo, please don't break the supply line in 3-2. Please don't mess me up over here. And please, like, let me get this done. And kiting Gaia and 3-4 and just all the things that just piled together, man. It really, it really noticed the labor of my work when I got to use all these dolls and have fun with them and be like, oh hey, I'm using these dolls, bet let me try these dolls, or let me play with this a little bit and let me do that and let me try this. And it just felt so good to turn around and just play the game at a intellectually stimulating level compared to just 0-2 1 2 3 4 clicks. All right, what's popping in the chat, what's going on, man? Like, hey, we got the music banging, you know what I'm saying? And so, man, Deep Dive, I thought Arctic Warfare, man, now if I compare Deep Dive, the event, to Arctic Warfare, boy, you talking about Deep Dive being a steak and you talking about Arctic Warfare being, a dollar menu cheeseburger at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, Deep Dive was something that was so fun and so just it was a breath of fresh air that was very much needed. And like you said, the less RNG, it was just so beautiful because I remember being, Arctic Warfare, turn 18. Oh, got some dogs, got to reset. And it's only a 20 turn map. And so, decreasing the amount of turns, going to 15 turns here was awesome. And just seeing, the manticores and kiting. And I can't praise this event enough. It was so much fun for me. But one thing that you didn't mention was your ranking and your
Mm-hmm.
score.
Yep.
And
Yep.
for,
Yep.
for those of you, for those of y'all who don't know, me and Dumplings had a little bit of WWE segment going on where we was just mad trash talking each other and we were just going at each other. And I'm talking about, I would say, a month and a half out of deep dive. We just got at each other even more and more and more. And so on the screen here, I think what rank did you say you were? 52 or 51?
52.
52.
52.
And on the screen here, y'all heard the man. He got 52. Now I'll say this, hey, I got into the top 100 as well. Now, of course, a huge shout out to Twitch chat because they helped me immensely on my run. If it wasn't for Twitch chat, I would not have gotten it. But I will say this: all I did was kite. And that's all I'm going to take credit for, was the kiting and leveling the units, and that's about it. But I will now present to y'all the loser's interview of who got the higher score, and here it is. I got ranked 71 with a score 669, 718, and as y'all heard previously, Dumplings hit 52 with a score of 672, 760. Mr. Dumplings, Pastor Dumplings, it's your time to shine, baby. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want to ask me, whatever you want to do, you lead the way on this one because look, it's your time to shine.
I just want to say to everyone who doubted hashtag Team Dumplings, y'all don't know who I am or what I do.
Yo!
Because I be out here winning every time. Every time. Without fail. And you know what's funny is the thing I called out in the initial interview on the other podcast. I was like, hey man, it's my equipment that's gonna win me this. And hey, it did. And honestly, I think you can agree. If it weren't for my equipment, I think I would have lost this.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yes, and Dumplings, if you don't mind, I'll try to lead the way in which you're talking about. So, after my final run, which I believe was on a Sunday, and the event ended on that Tuesday, you and I got together and we were in VC for a very long time, and we were kind of talking and we were comparing and contrasting, his ferries to my ferries, my equipment to his equipment, and my units to his units, and things of that nature. And so, when we took a look at your equipment compared to mine, a lot of yours was what? It was, I think yours was a lot of maxed equipment, wasn't it?
It was maxed calibrated too. So it was plus 10 max calibrated, like as good as it gets equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And I really invested a lot of time and calibration tickets to make sure like all my teams are ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have planned it a little bit better, but I'm happy the way it turned out. I'm really
Right.
happy the way it turned out.
Right. And see, one thing that was actually very, very intriguing to me is that a bunch of my equipment was just +5. Because how am I supposed to invest in equipment if all I ever ran was 0-2? Now, I'll be doing this on the stream, especially since I just got my third grape and I'm going to, call it there. I am going to be running 5-2 Night, and that's the map that you ran, I believe.
Yeah.
At what, 1,200 some odd times or so?
I can check right now. Some odd, like not even that much, honestly. Like comparatively, so I ran 5-2 Night 1,561 times, and I ran 0-2 4,773 times. So
Okay.
in that comparison, if you look at my equipment, that is honestly not that many runs for the equipment that I have.
Right, right. And now don't let him fool y'all, because I think I was taking a look at his armor, and he had 60 plus armors. Okay, 60 plus armors at plus 10. All right, now let me put this into perspective for y'all. When I looked at my plus 10 armors, I think I had like 12 to 18. 12 to 18. He had 5 times as many, uh, plus 10 equipment. And so there was, dude, that was just something that I couldn't believe, man. It's like, yo, how is that just stacking up? And so, we put it into the damage calculator, and I, dude, his best team compared to my best team, I think you were outparsing me at what, 9, 10, 11K damage.
It was 11,000 damage
11,000 damage.
per 5 seconds. I think every 5 seconds I was doing 11,000 more damage than you.
And the biggest reason, and we had relatively the same level fairies. We had,
Yep.
Now of course we were using different units because we have a different
Yeah.
play style. But his team, because of his equipment compared to mine, 11,000 damage. All right, y'all do not need to underestimate your equipment as badly as I did. Now, because of his equipment, being so much better than mine, you ran your maps, your ranking maps, several times faster than me. You see what I'm saying?
Not only several times faster than me, I wouldn't say fairy commandless, but
Mm-hmm.
almost fairy commandless. Like, the only fairy commands I would spend were taunts on the bosses, taunts on the cannons, and parachutes.
Right.
And
Eh,
that was like pretty much everyone. Like, you had to do that, obviously, right?
right.
So basically, and I would argue like you were more prepared in terms of fairies, considering you had like level 10 skills or whatever. I was running like all level 1 skills except for my parachutes. One airstrike was level 5 and my taunt was level 10, but other than that everything else was level 1 skill. So
Right. And see, that's something that, because of my fairies being so high leveled with their skill level, excuse me, or with their actual level, their star rarity. At the time, I never even had a 3 star going into deep dive. But I will say this: I had to use 150 to 180 fairy energy per run, and I only ran it 3 times. And so, one thing that absolutely destroyed me was on that Sunday when I did my run, I could not make it back because when we started talking about the discrepancy between my equipment to yours, I found out that I was able to keep up per se because of my fairies. I'd have shield fairies for my SMGs so they could tank. I'd have defense fairies for my shotgun teams, shotgun machine gun teams, so that way they could stand to tank a little bit longer. I'd have airstrike fairies on 3 of my teams, so that way, hey, if I ran into something, I could get some extra damage. And
mhm.
a lot of it was revolved around my kiting. And I know, one of the main jokes, on my ranking runs was, yo, we finna have a 10-day reset run where, oh, I took 12 damage, reset. I took 9 damage, reset. And a lot of my runs were just mainly resetting because I just couldn't afford to take the damage and take the hit on that because of my lack of equipment. So where my equipment failed, my fairies picked me back up. But at the end of the day, I almost want to say, and I know you joke about it here and there, I honestly think the equipment's more important than fairies in some aspects. In some aspects that I don't know, man. It's just so insane how much difference there was when we started counting in the equipment
Yeah.
to show the differences in our score. And it's 3K.
Yeah, I would agree. The thing was too that my equipment gave me an advantage over you was I was able to do. I think I did a total of like maybe 14 runs
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
ranking because I was spending maybe 60 energy per run. So I would go to sleep and make back all my energy and ready to rock and roll again. Whereas
Exactly.
you would use up all your energy and you're like, gotta wait, a day, maybe two. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
But one thing too, I think people underestimate calibrating their equipments too,
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
was actually this was something I was confused about because I was, doing my ranking runs, obviously giving I think it was Sopmod. I gave her level 10 uh EOTech, the holographic sight,
Okay.
because she equips two scopes.
Right.
Her crit scope was max calibrated, but her EOTech was not, but it was max enhanced.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was swapping her out with someone else, and I looked at her equipment, and I noticed, wait a minute, a level 0 holographic is giving me more stats than this plus 10 one. And
Oh.
I looked at the calibration, and it was because this one was uncalibrated and the other one was max calibrated. So I wouldn't underestimate calibrating your equipment. I think people really, they don't take into account the calibration, and they try to power through calibrations through enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think enhancements do help, but they cannot like recover that much. Like in some cases, a fully calibrated equipment is better than a fully enhanced one.
I see.
And something I do every week is I at least fully calibrate one equipment for my weekly. I know the weekly says only 5 calibrations,
Right.
but you're never gonna calibrate your equipment with just doing 5 a week.
Yep. I agree.
Um,
100%.
yep. So I do one. It doesn't matter how many calibration tickets it takes. One will get maxed out every week,
I
and
respect that.
that leads up into the next event, and I have equipment ready.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dang. So, this hey, you came out on top. Is there anything that you'd like to say in regards before we move to, I think, what you and I are both looking forward to in talking about the map? But is there anything that you'd like to jab at or talk about before we move on forward?
hey man, I'm just saying you were pretty confident going in, weren't you? Pretty confident going in. I think you're downplaying how much shit you were talking. But hey, it's all in good fun. I'd say I was actually pretty concerned I was gonna lose at the beginning. I think you felt it too.
Yes, yes,
At the
yes.
beginning, I was like, God damn, like I can't get these runs in. There were even, I think, at the beginning, like my first to third run, I was getting like 500k runs. I was like, oh my god, bro,
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Mm-hmm.
get my head around this map. And we'll talk about the boss spawning mechanics and stuff a little bit more in the next section.
Right.
But I was struggling, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna have to go into this interview with all the shame in the world. But no, you never give up. Never give up. And
Ne-
hey, once I got a hang of the map, and honestly, I think me struggling through the map actually gave me the advantage at the end, and we'll talk about that
Mhm.
in the next segment. So yeah.
Dude, you definitely did me a lot easier than I would have done you if you lost. I'll tell you that much. But let me go ahead and say this. I had a side little, I guess, like promise, or a little deal. Deal. A deal is a much better word. I had a little side deal with my boy StarCraft, and I said, "Hey, if I beat Dumplings, I'll watch JoJo the anime." And let me tell y'all this: when he passed me, there was like he passed me, I think, on a Friday or a Saturday. I did my run on that Sunday, and when I messed up my run, and I was so far into it with the fairy energy, the first thing I thought of in my head, hey, I ain't gotta watch JoJo, so I'm good. I didn't have to watch JoJo. That was my one saving factor out of this. And so, hey, I'm gonna say this: going forward into the future, knowing now, knowing how I play, my play style, and long kiting. One thing that I really noticed was if I had did a ranking run and then farmed for units and then did a ranking run when my energy came back up instead of farming for everything, and then there were some days where I would just do my dailies and then just be done with playing. So had I played it differently, that's something that I would have been able to get in more runs. But one thing that I've learned was my playstyle apparently is HP tanks and invulnerability compared to evasion tanks, which evasion tanks, everybody's in love with them. I highly value invulnerability. Is and this is something I to this day I still it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around. So, would you mind just very quickly talking about the differences between the evasion tanks to the HP tanks?
This was something I was gonna. You literally read my mind. I was gonna bring this up, and I was. This is an advantage. No, this is seriously. I think this is kind of one of the reasons why I won as well. Is you rely so much on HP tanks and invulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
and by all means, those are really good traits and attributes. And invulnerability is really good if you know how to time it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think invulnerability does reward kiting a lot more than evasion.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
basically, what you're trying to do is force the enemy not to attack you until your skill can proc.
Yes.
And once your skill procs, you're golden. You're not
100%.
taking any damage.
100%. Yes, sir.
But see, um, if you compare our runs actually, and it doesn't show this on the screen, but I, I, according to the game, I mean, this is also a joke. According to the game, I did 3 repairs on my ranking run. I swear to God, I only did 1. I swear to fucking God. But I don't know. Like I could have done 3. I could have done 3, and I just forgot because Lord knows I was tilted by the end of this event.
Amen.
I ran it like 14 times, and I was just over.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
over it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I only did 3 repairs compared to, I think, your run. You did like 21, right?
23. I did
23.
23 repairs on that score on the screen that you see. 23 repairs.
Yeah, and see, the advantage of evasion tanks is not only do you not have to kite, but I mean, you can still kite with evasion tanks. It's not like you can't, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the thing is you're not taking any damage, and invulnerability kind of lacks when you are forced to take damage and you have no choice but to take damage, right?
I see.
For instances, bosses, right? For example, Gaia. There's no running away from Gaia.
Yes,
You
100%.
pop the taunt fairy, and you just, you stand there, you shoot grenades, you dodge her attacks, and then you just pretty much pray to RNG that she doesn't target your DPS or whatever.
Right.
So that's why evasion tanks are so good, is because they're good in almost in pretty much every situation, I would say, except for maybe snipers. I'd say that's where invulnerability tanks really take the advantage over evasion tanks.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's definitely pros and cons to both,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm in love with evasion tanks because a lot of evasion tanks actually have better buffs than the invulnerability tanks.
Mm-hmm.
UMP 45, she's meta.
Right.
Damage, raw damage, and crit. Like
Mhm.
that's just the bread, and that's your milk and cookies, for your AR. So I would argue the evasion tanks, at least at this point in time, are the better bet, considering you're getting better buffs and arguably better skills, considering UMP 40 or 45's smoke grenade is just, it's invaluable. It's just,
Right, right, right. So I have one question for you because I had a squad of UMP 45 and UMP 9. Okay,
uh-huh.
and I had some, I guess, +5 equipments, maybe +4 exoskeletons on them.
Yeah.
Do you think that the reason why they took so much damage is because it was not max enhanced, was not max calibrated, or was I just having bad RNG with my evasion, or was it just a little bit of both?
Without a doubt, it's because you did not have a maxed out EXO.
Okay.
See, the thing with evasion tanks is you're pretty much betting on RNG, right?
Mm.
So the better RNG you have, the more likely you are to not take damage, right?
Okay, okay.
So I would say I always tell this to people when they're talking to me about enhancing equipment, and a lot of people are like, oh no, I only go to 5. A lot of people are like you. I'd say most people are like you. They just go to 5 and they stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, if there's one thing that you max out, it's armor plates and exoskeletons. Those are two things you cannot skimp on.
Okay.
Armor plates especially, because the way it works in this game is it's thresholds, right? You're
Right.
either like you want as much armor as possible, so those enemies are doing 1 damage to you, not 60, not 30. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yep.
Because your shotguns are not going to evade.
Mm-hmm.
They're the definition of tanking, not invulnerability, but pretty much like no evasion, high HP. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
And if you're not giving them that armor advantage, then you might as well just use something else. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying?
Makes perfect sense.
And with evasion tanks, if like, and even invulnerability tanks, I would argue, why wouldn't you give them that extra evasion? Because there are times, like I was talking about, where your G36 is gonna have to take hits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, why not give her dodge and invulnerability? You know what
I
I'm saying?
see. Yep.
Which
100%.
which I was using G36, and I wish I streamed my ranking run, but my friend Frank was helping me and watching me do my event,
Mm-hmm.
and literally my G36 went down to like 50 HP, and I didn't repair her.
Mm.
What I was doing was I was using a UMP 45 and a G36
Uh-huh.
as a G36 as an off tank, UMP 45 as a main tank,
Okay.
and I was switching them. And when G36 got to her, I'd swap her out to the off tank, and I would make UMP 45 tank until the shield was up. Then I would, retreat her, pop the shield, and then it was game at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Ah. Okay. Ooh.
So, you
Ooh.
can you could do a little mix. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But
Okay.
the reason why I don't like invulnerability tanks is, again, those tiles. I would say the only one I really enjoy using is G36, because Thompson and MP5 have those weird tiles that I really don't like.
Right. 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 I got you. Well, hey, man. Like I said during that call, I appreciate, sharing that information with me. And,
Yeah.
of course, I wanted to have that on the podcast as well. But let's go ahead and move forward to the part that I think you and I are both very, very much looking
Yeah.
forward to. And that's
Hmm.
going to be the actual ranking map. Now, I have the image that you and I talked about having on here.
Yeah.
And this is something that, by no means are we saying like, you know, everybody's wrong or everybody's right or anything like that. But this is just something that you and I came to a conclusion on, and it was very intriguing and very interesting. And I think when Deep Dive Plus, if it does come around, which I hope it does, and it has the same mechanic, I'm definitely gonna be following this, and I think it'll produce a higher score. So I have the picture up on the screen. Dumplings, if you'd like to go ahead and go forward with this, because I know you've got a lot to say about
Oh
it.
yeah. Man, I was pretty upset on what people were telling other people to do, because I think it was screwing over a lot of people that not only were aiming high, but even newer players that were just struggling to do the map, and they just wanted the scope, which, I mean, who doesn't want that scope? It's a really good scope. The rewards for this ranking were so good,
Yes.
and it was making me a little angry that people weren't recommending doing this strategy, because
Hmm.
it was just so much easier on newer players. And not
Hmm.
only that, it got me a top 100 score.
Right. Right.
But I literally did last minute research
Hmm.
with Frank. I was talking to Frank about the podcast,
Right.
and he was like, "Hey, bro, yeah, like, I don't understand." And we were talking about our frustrations, and he was like, "Hey, but I think I know why." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because in KR, they didn't have the same system as we did." And I'm like, "What do you
Correct.
mean?
Correct.
They didn't get points for capturing nodes
Yep.
and helipads and
Yep.
stuff." He's like, "So people were probably following KR guides by the book, and not actually, thinking about it for themselves." And I was like, "That makes complete sense."
Hmm.
Now, let me walk you through step by step, slowly, the reason why I think that the KR, away is wrong, in my opinion.
Okay.
So there are 37 total boxes and helipads on the map.
Okay.
Total.
Okay.
So that means, and there are 10 boxes, 27 heliports. That adds up to 37.
Okay.
There are 9 neutral helipads that do not spawn enemies at all, including the Jupiter cannons. Because remember, Jupiter cannons sit on top of
Correct.
helipads.
Correct.
So these 9 do not spawn enemies at all. So they're
Mhm.
free game to capture.
Mhm.
3 of them are boss nodes,
Yes.
right? And that's not in the 9 neutral helipads. That doesn't count for the 9.
Right.
So what people were telling people to do was to not capture on the screen here these yellow nodes and these red star nodes, because people were saying you want the mob spawn on turn 14 because they give you more points, and you want as many mobs as possible
Mhm.
because obviously mobs give you points, right?
Yes.
But thinking about it, me and my friends were in a call literally for like, I'd say like 4 hours. We were discussing, debating, and we are like, this makes no sense. Why would you go for turn 14 spawn? Is one spawn really worth the helipads you'll miss? Because there are 37 total boxes and helipads, like I said.
Mhm.
There's no way you're going to capture all of them unless you start capping early, right?
Right.
So we were debating it, and we came to the conclusion that there's no way that these turn 14 spawns are worth it, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
You look on the bottom right here, this yellow square.
Yes.
That's actually, that helipad's actually worth 2,500 points, not 3,000, or not
2000.
2,000, because there's a node to the right of it that you're guaranteed to encircle,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Going up that blue diamond helipad,
Mhm.
if you encircle this, there's a node on the right and a node that you're standing on. That's 1,000 points,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So we did the math, and basically, best case scenario, and we're going by what other people are saying. Don't capture all the nodes or all of the red stars and the yellows, right?
Mhm.
Best case scenario, by turn 14, and now this is like impossible in my opinion. There's no way that you'll make this. But let's just say magic frou unicorn dust, and it happens, right?
Okay.
Best case scenario, there are 15 helipads and boxes that you're not capping.
Okay.
If you have all the neutral nodes and all the boxes capped,
Mhm.
and you and I both know those boxes are extremely hard to keep a hold of when those mobs are spawning and they're, stepping on them and they're ruining it and everything, you know what I'm saying? So there's
Right.
really no way you can have all these boxes at the same time all the time.
Right.
And what also didn't make sense with the turn 14 was, keep in mind we have to keep control of the supply node,
Mhm.
the supply line. And minimum, that's 3 teams tied up defending that line at all times. Minimum. I think there are some that require 4.
Mhm.
So best case scenario, you're saying you have 3 teams tied up, and then on turn 14, you have another 3 tied up on those white nodes surrounding your command post, because you don't want them taking those nodes. You have to defend them from the
Right.
turn 14 spawn.
Right.
So that's six teams tied up, and that leaves you only 4 teams to actually go around and do what you need to do: clear clogs, fight the boss if you haven't fought the bosses yet, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
get your last Jupiter cannon, whatever last minute things you need to do. It's unrealistic in my opinion, and you're giving up the movement that those helipads give you.
Okay.
So basically, what we came up with was, you know what? Capture the red star nodes at the end of turn 9,
Okay.
so you get that turn 9 spawn,
Right.
and you forego the 14 spawn. Then the yellow nodes you spawn at the end, or you capture at the end of turn 11.
Okay.
So you forego the 14 spawn. So that reduces the number from 15 best case scenario to 10 best case scenario.
Right.
That makes a lot more sense. And again, it's magic frou for you to believe that you're not going to have boxes that are uncapped.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yes.
And also, people were saying, spreading the rumor, hey, it's more important for you to get the turn 15 spawn than capture the nodes. And again, I highly disagree with this strategy. because you have to get a Manticore for it to make up for you not capturing that helipad,
Right.
or anyone over 30k,
Mm-hmm.
basically 30k CE.
Right.
But then you're also not taking into account all the regular nodes you're getting in that case, like for the examples I was showing you, like,
Mm-hmm.
that bottom one's 25 points, that one's 1,000 points, and you're not taking all of that into account. So I would argue you're actually losing points doing that.
Right.
So that was something that I really didn't understand what people were doing, and me and Frank added it up, and it's like 162,000 points for all the
Mm.
boxes, all the helipads, and that's no nodes. No nodes. 162,000 points. So I was like, man, there's no way that turn 15 and turn 14 are worth these spawns. Yes, maybe. Maybe they get you more points. And I'm sure there are some people in the top 100 that did do this strategy and, got really good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
somehow on turn 15 surrounded these nodes, so it was 100% that they would get these mobs to hit them.
Right.
But it's just not realistic, in my opinion, for this magic scenario to happen.
Yeah, and see, when you turned around and started explaining that to me, because when you told me, imagine that I capped the 2 red nodes, imagine I capped the yellow nodes, I'm not tied down to 4 teams running the entire map and having to kill and clear the entire map with 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
I can turn around and actually use, let's say, 6, 7 teams to go and sweep through everything on top of more movement. And
Yep.
so when I heard that, or when we were discussing that, that was something I just could not wrap my head around, because number one, that would have had to mean that my run early on the one that got me my top 100 spot had really good RNG, because
Yeah.
I was playing, the way that, you had to pray for spawns, basically.
Yep.
But then turning around and, you and I saw, some people that would capture these boxes and capture these nodes and just say, hey, I'm going to have to take the L on these units spawning, and then they'd go and just funnel mobs on the top side or the bottom side. And they'd come out with top 40% scores running 6 or less teams.
Yeah. And I have a friend, I'm not gonna say whose name it was, because I didn't get permission for them to say their name or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
that person had only 4 teams ready. Easy top 40% in one run. One run. Just doing the secure method that I was talking to you about. So, like, if you do the math, all you need to do is like 300,000 points.
Yeah.
And then capture the whole map, and you got top 40.
Yeah.
Like, it was that easy, and people were struggling and doing the wrong strat. Like, I don't understand.
Right. And that's something that it was just incredible, to hear that. And, going forward, one thing that this discussion that you and I had, off podcast and, during the podcast just now, one thing that has taught me is really think for yourself. Yes, you can use the old guides or the old methods as a I guess guiding way. You can take into account, but take it with a grain of salt. You see what I'm saying? Where had I sat down with people and did what you did, or had we sat down together and we talked it out, both of us probably could have ran top 25. You never know. But the fact still remains is that things that happen on the older servers are not always going to be the same as on the EN server. And one thing, I don't know if you expected me to mention this, but it's the perfect segue, dude. One thing is the great thing going around.
Oh my god, yeah. Don't even get me started. I am... Oh, dude.
Hold on.
Honestly, I don't even... I get so mad that like I get so mad when CN and other servers make fun of EN, and then we come up with this shit, and then I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, whatever. Like,
So for those who don't understand what we're talking and laughing about, basically right now we have the rescue event going on, and we have heard and people are doing, they're farming for multiple grapes. All right. And, I've heard some people going for 5. I've heard some people going for 10. Some people going for, however many they want to go for. Okay. And they're all saying it's to prepare for Singularity. Now, Singularity is going to be in Q4. I would assume it's going to be in the, 10th month or the 11th month. All right. That's just my guess. That's my assumption. But you mean to tell me that you want to turn around and invest thousands of data, of intermediate data? It's 1,020 intermediate data for one character. All right. So if you go 5 grapes, that's 5,100 intermediate data. If my Ian math off the top of my head works correctly, 5,100 intermediate data on top of all the advanced data that you have to do for one character. And something that you pointed out to me was that's only for that ranking event. Are you even going to use it afterwards?
Yeah, she pretty much becomes not useless, but you're not going to use like 6 grapes after that. Maybe like that, like I don't know, like, but not that I know of, like nowhere time in the new future.
Right.
So she's just taking up inventory space at that point, and she's just like holding all those resources and time you put into her. But like,
right.
I don't know, man. Like, it just like, honestly, hey, if this event comes around and everyone's using 6 grapes and I don't get top 100 because it was 6 grape meta or whatever, I'm more than happy to lose. Honestly.
Right.
I'm more than happy to. I'd rather not get top 100 and not invest all this time and investment into one character.
100%.
One event.
100% agree. Now, for those of y'all who are like, well, why would you ever say that? Blah blah blah. I have a KR sensei. Okay. Now, obviously, like, there's a language barrier. Like, she speaks straight up Korean, and I speak only English. So, hey, Google Translate doing the Lord's work for me. You see what I'm saying? But I was so concerned with this dumplings. Let me tell you this, man. I was so concerned with it because I was sitting here and I was like, yo, what's going on here, man? I hear all these people farming for 4, 5, 6 grapes. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's so much. Now, 2 grapes, let me tell you why 2 grapes is understandable. Because when Chapter 10 comes out, 10-4 Emergency, that is going to be the spot where you can farm multiple cores. Now, it's not a great place to level, but that becomes the Omega core heaven. Okay, but having 2 grapes, having the units there to, make it possible, that's a little difficult, okay? So I can understand if you get 2 grapes, all right? I turned around and I asked KR Sensei, I said, yo, I got all these people talking about they want to get 10 grapes for Isomer, or they want to get, so many grapes for Isomer. And I said, is it worth me, investing and farming right now for Isomer? And straight up, she just goes, you can get 2 for right now, and then in 1.5 years, Isomer will come. Okay? You can surely get 1 grape by production by that time. And I said, okay, you know what? That makes sense because we're going to have new characters that comes out. We're going to have more rifles, by the way. Grape is not the only rifle. We'll have more rifles that we want to pull for that we'll need to invest in. I'm sure 1 will come along the way. And I said, okay, that makes sense. And she even told me that she used 3 grapes during Isomer. And I said, and she, it made life easy for her. I said, okay, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Then I said, well, what about for Singularity? And she goes, well, having, 2, I think is more than enough because, you will need it for some things. But if you have any more than that, you're over investing. Going 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're over investing into that. I said, okay, that kind of makes sense. And now I'm sitting here in a panicked worry because I was like, okay, well, what if my question isn't conveying properly because of the language barrier, right? So then I'd say, well, how many should I farm for? What should I get? Is two okay? Is three okay? Like, and I was panicking. I was frantic about it. And I was like, yo, I don't, I'm worried. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
this is like basically straight up. This is what it was translated. You do not need to dupe any characters in this game to get a very high score in ranking. And when I say very high score, I would assume she means top 100. You don't need to dupe anybody to get top 100 in this game. That's the beauty of the game.
I agree.
Okay? And then on top of that, you can easily turn around and let's say you have one extra grape. So you have two grapes total for singularity. She said that'd be more than enough. Then you pull one more in a year and a half's time for isomer and you're perfectly fine. And I said, you know what? I was like, and I was like, yo, are you sure? Are you sure? And basically, it came down to, bruh, calm down, chill out, you'll be okay. Get two grapes at minimum and call it a day. And so I kind of went a little bit further, and now look, a year and a half, that's a lot of pulls. I ain't finna test RNG like that. So, hey, I farmed my third grape right now. I called it a day. But see, the difference here is I'm not going to invest into that grape until we get closer to isomer because there's no point for me, right? And so,
Hmm.
like you say, like I say, like my KR sensei says, if you want to invest into 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 grapes, by all means. But if you do that, just remember grape has specific comps. Okay? And I'll tell you, shout out to Snake in the chat. One of the KR lads, he turned around and told me, we have a little joke or a little saying in KR. And he says, you know, strawberry is grapes special equipment, meaning they go hand in hand. So if you got multiple of those, your grape ain't gonna be as optimal as if you didn't have multiple strawberries to go along with it. On top of the same handgun to go along to deck that team out. You see what I'm saying? Because if you want a lot of rate of fire, imagine having to build a bunch of calicos, a bunch of, whoever else that does rate of fire, and just stacking 6 calicos, 7 calicos.
Yeah.
You
Doesn't make any sense.
do you really want to go down that path? If you do, hey, by all means, more power to you. That ain't my account. I ain't gonna have to worry about that. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
this is something that honestly I wasn't gonna bring up, but it was such a perfect segue to talk about that. If you do that, just remember you're not only investing into grape, you got to invest into the other 4 team members that go along with that. So hey, by all means, you do you, baby. But at the end of the day, I'll take my 2 grapes and I'll take everybody else that's going to be doing a different facet of the game that needs to be done, and I'll call it a day. And that's what Sensei told me. That's what I relayed to you. That's what I relayed to my Twitch chat, and that's what I relayed here on the podcast. And that's all I got to say about that. And hey, if you got any more words about the shenanigans, go for it. Because
Like I said, man, it's ridiculous to me how panicked people are. Like, dude, we saw the same thing with Arctic Warfare. Oh, you need 10 machine gun, shotgun.
mm-hmm.
And honestly, would it be nice to have 10 machine gun, shotgun for Arctic Warfare? Yes, because literally machine gun, shotgun like killed everything in
Yep.
Arctic Warfare without taking any damage.
Mm-hmm.
But did you need 10 machine gun, shotgun? No, AR SMGs did fine.
Yep.
Rifle handgun did fine. I would argue you doing 10 shotgun machine gun screw you over because how are you gonna kill the bosses?
Right.
You
100%.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So people were just, I don't know, man. Like I'm done listening to these damn kids panic over these things.
Right.
And like I said, if I'm wrong and I lose and I eat my words, fine, dude. But I'm not gonna invest in 5 grapes. Like it's just not happening.
Right.
And that's coming from a guy that used to not dupe, and then now I do dupe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now I'm more than happy to dupe. I have multiple copies of the same character, but I'm not going over 3.
Yes.
And
Yep. Same.
and I'm not like, and that's just a rule. Like I'm never gonna go over 3. It just seems ridiculous for me to have to use the same character over and over and over again,
Right.
especially for just one event. It just seems really not smart to me, you know?
And honestly, that would be bad game development on Micah's end
Yeah,
to
it would
force me to use, you know.
the same character over and over again. Yeah, it'd be boring too. Like,
Right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of this game is the unit variety and the teams. Like, for example, all the teams we were discussing on our voice call. You know, all
Yeah.
of our ranking teams were different. No
Mm-hmm.
two teams were alike. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
100%.
And we dupe too. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone talks about the meta, but even the meta can be played around with.
Right.
For example, do you want to use Contender in your MG Shotgun team, or do you want to use Mark 23? Both are
Right.
considered meta, but both are really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. Like, I don't believe this shenanigans that everyone's trying to blow up. Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Right. And this is the last thing that I want to point out on the shenanigans is the what was the word that I used earlier when before I took my nap. Man, I don't remember the word that I used, but people are over expecting, I guess, that if their team is not 100% prepared by the start date of the said event, that they instantly are just trash or they're instantly lost. Now, how does that make any sense? Because Dumplings was telling me that when he had his fairies going through training, he got them done 3 days before the end of the or before the start of the event. His best ranking run did not happen until 3 days or 4 or 5 days before the end of the event. He did not do his first ranking run until a week and a half after the event started. That's so many data days that he was able to do and invest in. That's so many days that he could have been doing 0-2 if he needed to level up. But this whole like exaggeration of if I don't have it by the start of the ranking or by the start of the event, I'm doomed is completely and utterly false. And that's something that I think a lot of people kind of get into their heads and they're like, if I don't have it ready, I'm done for. And that's one of the things that like I wanted to address here while we're at. Hey, just pile it all on. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
it's okay to be underprepared going into it because it's not like you're not allowed to farm other things. And you know, I know a few people that come to my mind, you know, I don't want to say no names, they were doing, they were farming the entire time and then they try a ranking run. Okay, well, I definitely need to level this person up more. Okay, then boom. And then they go and do it and then they're perfectly fine. Like, it's okay to go in a little underprepared because at the end of the day, look at Dumplings. Let me ask you this, Dumplings, would you say that you were 100% prepared for this event?
No, you'll never be 100% prepared for any event.
You will never.
Never ever.
Never.
Because there will always be a T-Doll that you were like, oh man, if I had her right now, the run would be a little bit more efficient. Or,
Yep.
oh man, for example, my equipment, as pristine as everyone says it is, I talk to everyone. I think the only person I've met whose equipment is more pristine than mine is Frank's.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And even I was like, hey, what's been happening is these ARs actually, sometimes they'll get hit, or sometimes, you have no choice but to get hit a little bit.
Yep.
So, or maybe I kited incorrectly against a boss. You know what would be nice? Those exos that don't minus your damage.
Yep.
If I had all those maxed out, then,
Yep.
I might have a chance of a dodge. Or, those off-tank pistols on your SGMG teams?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, you don't need those to dodge. Your SG is gonna... Not true! especially when the drones in this event...
Oh my god.
Like, the drones in this event were, like, anti-shotgun machine gun, and I think that's something that they did on purpose to contrast AW, where machine guns were just good against everything.
Mm-hmm.
So your shotgun was just standing up there getting shredded. It'd be better if your handgun could, take some of that load off, tank a little bit, let your machine guns reload. So, there's always gonna be a doll that you want. Like, for example, it was CMS for me. I was like, oh, it'd be really nice to have CMS right now.
Yep.
But did I necessarily need her to get top 100? Obviously not.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
100%.
another thing to caveat on what you just said was that particular friend I was talking about earlier that did Arctic Warfare with only 4 teams the did the ranking a day before it ended, and she got top 40%. So she was cutting it real close, and man, like, and she still got top 40%. So I mean, I don't see what the issue. And again, another thing to say, Arctic Warfare had an EXP event during the event,
Right. Yep.
and people were freaking out and saying like, "Oh, this is dumb" or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not necessarily the case. Like, you have time to do other things, so
Right. Well, Pastor Dumplings, this has just been a huge reflection on Deep Dive as an event, as a ranking event, as a story and things of that nature. And of course, I appreciate your time and having you here on the podcast. Is there any final words or any final banter that you'd like to throw out or jab at me? Because a Singularity coming up, what's the business, man? Hey,
you already know. You're trying to egg me on. I know it. But I said after this event, I was like, oh man, it's like I was so burnt out on Deep Dive, and I still am.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know if I want to, another competition for Singularity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But thinking about it, hey, it's probably gonna happen. Let's be real here. Like, I get hungry. Your boy wants to win, and he always does. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the thing is, though, is like I just realized I was talking with Frank, and he was like, "Hey, there isn't a ranking event for Cube, right?" And I'm like, "You're right, bro." So we're not getting a ranking event until Singularity.
Yep.
So I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get hungry by then, dude." Like all this time is for prep. Like, in my opinion, you don't need a prep for Cube Plus. Like, sure, you might need to prep a little bit,
Right.
but I think if you're, relatively well off, you're gonna do the story just fine.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
So literally, I think you said it was Q4 is when Singularity is scheduled to come out for us.
Yes.
You have all the way until then just to do 0-2 and 5-2 night. Hey, your boy is gonna get hungry.
Dude,
So
100% agree.
I'm not gonna, talk my way into a hole like I did this event. Good thing I won, because I'd be really sad if I lost. But I'm not gonna talk myself into another hole for the next event, because there is the potential I could lose, especially now that you have my secrets. So not only are you gonna have good equipment, you're gonna have good fairies over me too.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, I'm gonna hold my tongue this time, but hey, for sure, for sure, top 100 at least.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
I will say that.
Okay.
I will say that.
All right. And you know what? I think that's a very humble move of you to hold your tongue. I think if I had won this, I think I'd be out the wazoo. Oh, no, you ain't gonna get closer.
If I had lost, you already know I'd be like, nah, man, I'm coming back. But no, I'm back-to-back I'm like, back-to-back World War champion, baby. And I'm like,
Oh my god.
maybe it's time to, hang up the boxing gloves, but nah, I'll come out of retirement for sure. I just give me a minute. It's just
For sure.
I got so burnt out on DD. You know, like we were VCing and
Mm-hmm. And I think you and I don't know if it shows on me, but I know for me, as far as like the deep dive is concerned, your boy is so ready to take a fat break from farming the events, man. Like,
oh yeah.
Definitely. So, but Pastor Dumplings, dude, it's always a pleasure to have you on here, man. Thank you so much for being here and talking about deep dive and just kind of reflecting and hanging out and the good vibes, man. I do appreciate your time, brother.
All right, man. Thank you, bro. Praise the DRR.
Amen, brother. Amen. Have a good one, bro.
You too, man.
Peace. So, guys, that was the wrap up of the of my defeat against Pastor Dumplings. But see, yeah, as much as I want to egg it on because I lost, dude. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and just move on to the next segment. Now, the next segment, if you did not catch one of my newer YouTube videos, it's going to be covering the month of June's roadmap. And so basically, we're going to have 5 new T-Dolls. One of them is going to be K2. Now, I will have a video for this, or, I'll add it on to the next podcast, depending on what happens. But basically, their Twitter hasn't released the nice little pictures for me to use and put on here. So, you know what? I'm going to just wait on that. But we do have 5 new T-Dolls, so that, little review or analysis or a little talk about explanation will come soon. We've got 5 new T-Dolls. We already know who they're going to be. You can see that in-game, actually, on the panels on the bottom left-hand side. We have a new resupply gacha coming, which I thought was going to be the one with G28's and Spaz's summer skin, but I don't believe that's going to be it for this month. That might come in July, actually, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. Then we'll have a voucher event with TAC 50, the 5-star rifle T-Doll. We'll have Chapter 9 coming in. Now, let me tell y'all, Chapter 9, it's called Lost. And it says, "My dear, where is your heart?" And if y'all know anything about the ending of Chapter 8, your boy is ready. I cannot wait. I'm so ready to read this. So I'm very excited for that. And then, of course, we'll have the full opening of Combat Sims, basically day-to-day for however long they leave it open. That's going to cover, the brief look at the monthly roadmap for the month of June. Then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Q&A. Now, the Q&A was actually held at the end of April. They did not hold it during the month of May. And, that's 100% perfectly fine. One thing that I want to take a look at, I only have 2 questions because everything else is just whatever. So the first question is, when is PP19? Now, you ask, why would you even, talk about that question? It's not so much the question that I'm looking at, it's their answer. Now, this was at the end of April, so like the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, somewhere in that area, okay? This question was asked. Their answer was, unlikely to be anytime soon, quote unquote. All right? So we now know we got it. Let's just say that it was the beginning of May when we get that answer. We got it a month later. What is going on? Now, of course, they could have changed it to where they just threw it in with the rescue event. Okay, then that's a different story. Maybe it wasn't planned. But that leads me to assume or believe, or, I don't have my a magnifying glass on me. Have my little magnifying, I'm going to just have my little magnifying glass and be like, hey, maybe some of these answers that they're giving me are a little bit suspicious. Maybe the way in which they answer particular questions could actually hint towards something else. And then the second question, why I bring this up, is because they say, can we expect Cube Plus after Chapter 9? Well, we know, looking at the roadmap, that Chapter 9 comes out this month. So one can only assume that either the Cube Plus will come at the beginning of next month or the absolute last day. And if it was the absolute last day, they'd have it there. So I would assume it's going to start sometime next month. But their answer was that will probably be the case. And so that the way in which the answers are given for the questions is what I'm trying to look at and trying to decipher. Maybe, some of y'all Sherlock Holmes out there can figure this out, because I'm saying, just look at it. It almost feels as if all the things that they're talking about that says it's unlikely to be soon comes as fast as you can snap your finger or blink an eye at. And that's all I wanted to say for the Q&A. Now, we actually know on their Twitter, they said we have a collab coming. And it's for the Cyberpunk Bartender Action Valhalla. Now, I'll talk about that a little bit more in this next segment, but just know that this is coming in August, okay? And so let's go ahead and jump into this next segment. And this is something that I am extremely excited to talk about, and I am so hyped for. And it's going to be this right here. We're going to talk about the happenings of the GFL 3rd anniversary live stream that happened a little bit, I would say about halfway through the month of May. So taking a look, I'm not going to read through every single thing. I'll add the links into the description box when this gets put on YouTube. If you want these links during the stream, let me know after the podcast and I'll get these to you. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. It says a 3rd anniversary live stream, 3 years and still growing strong. Okay, so that's something that is very good to hear. So, these are just like little pretty numbers that you can look at, you know, the total number of SF units destroyed, things of that nature. I'm not going to cover every single one of these. The first thing that I do want to mention is their little history lesson or their review. Okay, this game came out on 5/20/2016. Okay, some of the things that I want to like kind of look at this cube. They got it 3 months later. Okay, it wasn't until 4 months later that they got their first combat simulation. Imagine a world in which we, the EN server, start playing this game and we don't get any combat sims for 4 months. Imagine how much data you'd miss out on. So that was something that was just mind-blowing to me. Then they got game started on 5/20/2016. In January, Arctic Warfare started up, and that's where they bring in Tito Heavy Productions. That's where they bring in equipment power-ups. So you're sitting on base equipment for a very long time. And so the thing that I'm trying to I guess bring to light or show y'all, look at this. The ferry system doesn't come until, what is that, almost a year, 14 months later. Like, the thing that I'm trying to show here is that, you know, if you do play on the EN server or you don't really know anything about the older servers, take a look at the history lesson on this link and compare to what we have, man. We've gotten so many things either off the bat, which is a good thing, or we've gotten so many things to come a little bit later than when they got it. Like, if you took a look at this, they get Arctic Warfare with Heavy Productions, but we've been rolling for Heavy Productions the entire time. They got ferry system at the beginning with Deep Dive, or like a day or two before Deep Dive. Do you know how frustrated people would be if we didn't get ours a month or 2 months or a month and a half before Deep Dive? What if we got it the same way that they did? And so, you know, it's one of the things that what I did with this was I looked at it and I said, you know what? For as many complaints as I had about the lack of content or the lack of events or the lack of anything going on, if these older players on the older servers can sit down, grind it out, wait it out, play it out, and they can turn around and just chill, maybe the speed at which it's coming for EN, maybe I can chill out. Because I say this all the time, the game is fundamentally different compared to any other gacha game, in my opinion, that's on the market. And so, you know, if people can sit and wait and chill and relax, and, you know, they're constantly improving, they're constantly adding, they're constantly, you know, giving questionnaires and polls to the older servers, you know, with the theater system, they got a poll, they got, you know, a poll with the FSTs, you know, all these different things coming around. It's something that's so super interesting to just take a look at what they got, when they got it, and then look at us and say, wow, it feels like they're doing a way better job compared to that, or we're being spoiled, or both. And, you know, it's something that I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm thankful for the speed at which we're going, even though a few podcast episodes ago I was hating on it. And so taking a look at it, you know, I'm very, very happy with where we are sitting at. Now, of course, they had more news for their server. You know, they had anniversary stuff, things of that nature, but I'm not going to focus on any of that. If you want to check it out, like I said, you can check it out on this later. But the next thing that I want to look at is this. It says they have new content coming along. And for those of you who read the story, I ain't gonna talk about this picture, but y'all know the business. Something in this picture ain't right. And so we could take a look at this picture and just move on about our business because, maybe this is something to do with the emergency story or maybe it's something to do with the night story. I don't know. And I don't want to know because I don't like spoilers. And so we just gonna go ahead and move on forward. Taking a look at the next thing, we got a 5th batch of mods. We already know who these mods are. It's going to be Micro Uzi, AS Val, and STG. Now, let me tell y'all something. AS Val, with her mod 3, I'm just saying your boy was ahead of the curve. I already got her leveled up to 90. I just got to push her to 100. She is popping, dude. I'm talking about people are comparing her with Groza type of levels. And so that is very, very nice. I didn't look at Micro Uzi or STG, but I would just assume that they are relatively good or at least better than what they were. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those as well. The next thing that I want to talk about is the expedition system. Oops, and it says it is in development. And so there's not much to take away from here. But I do want to take a look at, it does say data. 000. What's going on here? We do have these little marks down here at the bottom that we can see. We got one at the 3 hour. We got one at, I would assume, is 1 hour and 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We've got this little running bar right here. We've got 3 hours and 32 minutes, 59 seconds in the top. So I'd assume that's where this bar is at 3 hours, 33 minutes, basically. And so it goes all the way up to 8 hours. I am so curious what they have going on for this expedition system. Okay, so one thing that I was talking about with Snake, and, he is a KR player, and he was telling me that what he was getting from the live stream is he was saying that they don't want to add any more long-term things into the game. And when I say long-term, I'm talking about fairies, FSTs, mods, anything like that, because the more long-term things that you add into the game, the higher barrier of entry becomes. So it's harder on new players, because if you take a look at Snake and then you take a look at me, I'm able to turn around and level up these fun units, these 3 stars, 2 stars, 4 stars, that he doesn't get the opportunity to level because he has to level the best people because he doesn't have the time to invest into anybody else except the very best because he started a little bit later than what he would have liked to start. So imagine a new player coming in to GFL and they're like, yo, well, I have the fairies that I have to invest in, and then I have all the data that goes along with them. And now you're telling me mods coming in Q4, and you've got to prepare combat sims for them, and then more neural mod for them, and cores on top of all of this. So then you got that. Then you got FSTs to worry about. And so now their barrier of entry, dude, if you don't start like low key, if you don't start now, your barrier of entry is about to skyrocket. Okay, so if you got people that are interested, or people, tell them to get on the game right now because it's about to skyrocket as far as like the EN server is concerned. Okay, but I've got fantastic news for you that you ain't got to worry about. So let's go ahead and keep on moving forward. Now we have a new room, and one thing with this room is I would assume that this is going to take batteries. That's what Snake told me. And this room is actually going to be for special equipment for low rarity T-dolls. Now that means these 2, 3, 4-star T-dolls that are, let's say, relatively useless might be able to turn around and become great or usable, in a non-meme team. They become usable or hold their own when we turn around and are able to get their special equipment. Now, I'm thinking of people like Famas. Maybe she gets a special equipment that makes her good. I'm also thinking of someone like Car98K, the face of the franchise, your franchise player. Why is she not one of the most OP players or units in the game? And so that's something that I'm really curious how they're going to use or work, and curious to see. So we're going to have another battery sink on that. Then on this picture down here, I don't really know what's going on right here. It says they have new special visual effects for T-Dolls. There's going to be more on this later. We do see that G11 is sleeping back here on the back left. And then this is the biggest thing that I said don't worry about. One thing that I was talking about just now was there's going to be a higher barrier of entry. However, the thing that they also pointed out was they want to reduce the emphasis on repeated grinding in maps. AKA, you don't have to do 11,000 runs of just 0-2. You can spread your runs out. You can do different maps, so it's not just, oh, real quick, do my 0-2 run. 0-2 is ready again. 0-2, you know, you don't have to do all this repeated grinding on these maps, and so maybe this little thing right here or this expedition system is something coming that's going to help alleviate the grind of 0-2 over and over and over and over again. And so that'll be really good. The only thing that it won't be good for is me, because if it outdates my tutorial to 0-2 series, I think I'm going to have to make a third series for that, just for new players, so it's going to be a little unfortunate for me. But I mean, for everybody else, it's going to be fantastic. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, more power to them. But this is actually really good. The only thing that sucks, like I said, is you're going to lose out on all the data. You're going to have to catch up on data. You're going to have to catch up on neural data. You're going to have to catch up on cores. You're going to have to catch up on fairy batteries, you know, all of those things. So your barrier of entry is still high, but at least the reduced grinding on one map becomes a little bit lower and potentially more enjoyable. Who knows? Maybe they add other places that you can get EXP and you can just go farm there and then go farm here and farm there, and different ways of playing. Maybe. I'm not going to put anything into their mouths and say this is how they're saying it, but at least they're reducing the repeated grinding on maps, and that's something I'm happy about. They also talk about the Valhalla collab, and this is something that I'm so excited for. Now, first off, we have this little picture. Now, I wish that I could like zoom in on this, but I can't. So I'm going to assume that this is going to be like China, Korea, and Taiwan, or something like that. Like basically the oldest of older servers. They're all getting it in June. Now, one thing that this is the reason why I held out on talking about this is because basically the way that Micah said is they want EN to be 2 months behind the new events for when we get caught up, just to give them time for translation issues, for bug issues, and if they think that this was terrible for those servers, who knows, maybe they'll change it a little bit, tweak it for us so that it's a more enjoyable experience, right? And so they're getting theirs in June, okay? Well, let's see, July, August. Oh, wait. We're getting ours in August. That's 2 months. So then JP is getting theirs in September. Wow. Now, I mean, it could very well be the end of August, and then, you know, they get theirs in the middle of September, like the same way we did with Deep Dive. However, it's something that's still very, very good to hear and very good to see. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention that is because they're on the plan that they said they wanted to be on. So they're showing us that they're committed to getting us 2 months behind. Not only that, we get this at a very quick pace, because it's not something like, hey, they had Deep Dive for a year. Now we're going to have like all our scientific rocket sciences expert analysis to go study that map, and then we're going to get the best possible thing and bring it over, and we're just going to copy that word for word, and we're going to get dicked. No, none of that's going to happen, because what if the best thing that they come up with is not the best thing for us? What if they change just a little bit of what is going to happen for us? You see what I'm saying? So now we get this opportunity to go in truly blind, and that's something that I'm so excited for, that it's going to be happening. Then they do show us a little picture of what they have. They do have this. I mean, it says Springfield is totally capable of being a bartender. Okay, cool. I mean, she's a bartender in the cafe right now. But I mean, I don't know anything about the game. People like, I mean, you know, KR, they're already getting pictures of the game, and that's being thrown into my Discord. But I mean, as far as anything else is concerned, like, yo, this Like I have no idea about this game. I don't know what the game is about or anything like that. All I know is that I think I see some Jack Daniels and I'm thinking of M16. And so that's all I know literally about this picture. I know nothing else. And so I'm just going to move on forward and just show y'all this picture because I thought it was cool. Now, one thing we do know is the Girls Frontline anime. We finally got some news on that, and that is going to be set for July of 2019. It says a new CV will be coming soon before the summer event, and I would assume that is either going to be Valhalla, maybe, or it's going to be an event that we talked about, like, way up here. What was it? Prospect? Yeah, for this event. Maybe it's one of those two. I'm not 100% sure. But it says the original CVs will be in the animation, and then it's potentially 24 episodes. Now, I don't know if it's just going to be like a lighthearted, memey, funsy type of anime all the way through and through, short, like, 5 to 12 minute episodes. Or I don't know if they're going to turn around and have like actual serious anime episodes and then fill in the rest of them with light episodes until they catch up to the story. Because imagine a world where they turn around and say, yo, check our anime out. Okay, well, we're watching your anime. And then they give us all the juiciest parts, and they're giving us all the story that's animated. The story that we have in the game, and they're animating it. And then right up to the point to where we are in the game, they say, if you want to know more, download the game and play today. And start playing today. And then for this upcoming event. And then what if they introduce their newest event with the end of the anime? Or with some type of something in the anime? I'm just saying the potential is there to do something huge with that. And that's something that's going to be really exciting and really cool. And I'm looking forward to this anime. Now, I'm just saying, hey, it looks clean. It looks good for the one picture that they give us. But I'm pretty hyped about it. For the people who potentially watch KR streams, and I know I'm going to butcher his name, Kisuyung, I don't know how to say his name, but I've seen him playing this game before on his stream, and I thought that it was clean, it looked fun, it looked cool, but I don't know anything about it. For those who know of Bakery Girl, I know that Senpai Waifu Willie knew about it, and apparently this is going to be a Bakery Girl remaster. Now, from what I was getting, or what I was being told, is that this looks like a darker version of Bakery Girl remastered, and different maps and things of that nature. But it does say it's still in development. They'll show more of it in the future live streams or events. It's the same continuity as Girls Frontline, but at a later time. So basically, Girls Frontline is here, and then time progresses, and then Bakery Girl is over here, and so that's how they do that. And then it says certain characters from Girls Frontline may appear. So who knows? That little picture right there looks like IWS to me, like right here. Not in this picture, but who knows how they're gonna do that. Then the last thing that I do want, the merchandise is just like meme stuff. Y'all can check that out. I'm not a memer though. The rest of this is actually super important. And I think this is probably the most important part of the entirety of their live stream, and it's going to be the other section. It says the rate of events may increase. There's going to be less downtime between events. So imagine a world that we live in right now where we're in like quarter two, or like the relatively quarter two, beginning of quarter three, going into our next event. We have to wait all the way until quarter four. Okay, so what if they decreased it and then they said, hey, it might be in quarter three? Or instead of decreasing that amount of time, they're going to increase the little bit of events that go on right here. So that way we don't really have downtime to leave the game, which is one of the things that I was complaining about. Like, keep me in the game. Keep me playing. I love this game. I don't want to play other games. Keep me here. And with this statement, that's what they seem to be doing. Another thing is that they want to allow other T-Dolls to have more screen time. So, if you get 989 in there, or Groza, or like M60, because she's like a hardcore flavor of the week right now for me, and she's going mega hard, like, I'm not going to be mad about that. I think that's going to be really cool. And, they'll be able to show off other people in the game and be like, yo, they were cool in the story, or they were cool in the anime, or they were cool in this. I'm going to level them up, because let me tell you something. Your boy Oath M60. It be like that. Get off of me. If y'all want to know more about that, ask me in Discord, or ask me on stream. The next thing we have is they might add special buffs or effects to certain combinations of T-Dolls to increase flexibility of party compositions. Now, this is what I'm talking about. They are adding so much flexibility to the compositions of the team. So if you turn around and think about it, okay, what if there was some type of increased buff if you have M16 and 416 on the same team? Then you're going to turn around and be like, yo, hey, they might be good separate, but what if I put them together and then I put like 3 other characters together, and let's say like that team is stronger than a typical AR SMG team? Like, then like what if they turn around and say, yo, hey, the FN team in the story, if you put them together, you know, even if they're not the best ones, like, you know, you got a rifle, you got handguns, you got SMGs, but or whatever it is, I don't know, dude, but you put them together and then they get a super buff. The fact that they're looking at this possibility is something that is so intriguing, because now you can actually turn around and say, hey, here is a use for leveling these low level or low rarity characters, because if you do that, they can actually match or go beyond the power of your typical 5-star team comp, 4-star team comp, or what have you. But I think that this is something that is very good. I think that this is adding that next mechanic. So if you have the fairy mechanic, you have the FST mechanic, the mod mechanic, the whatever mechanic, I think this is the next mechanic, and this is going to push mixed teams into play. And I think that if they do it properly, that you can turn around and really have no meta. Now, you could say like, hey, this is the most optimal or whatever, but I think if you have the potential to wipe out meta, because you could say, hey, this one that I do special people matches the same as this one that's special people, and they both work very, very well. And so this is something that I'm so very much looking forward to, because I hate being tied down to 2 AR or 3 AR, 2 SMG. Because, like, dude, you know, I like to theory craft. I like to create team comps. I like to have fun, you know, and look at different ways of playing the game, man. And so this whole, like, one view perspective it's cool, but having a second or a third, you know, that would be really it would be so healthy for the game, because then you won't have as many elitists. And so that's something that I think would be really awesome. The next one is they definitely will have one of the protagonist T-Dolls get a remodel during the summer event. Guess which one? A 5-star remodel is also possible in the future. So basically, remodel is the mod system. And so if you have a 4-star unit and they get a mod, then it can bump them up to 5-star. They get a new skill. They get, you know, something different to their tile buff. They get, you know, just, you know, stuff that happens to them that increases them, their efficiency. And so one thing that this is saying is there's a potential 5-star remodel or a 5-star mod to push us to 6-star. Okay, so my thing is if we turn around and get this, it says one of the protagonist T-Dolls. Well, guess what? One of the protagonist T-Dolls on the main team of this story game is Ro. She is a 5-star unit that could easily get mod, and then boom. I'm just saying, if she has the ability to like wiretap or do something, or like interfere with the thing with Sangvis Fairy's communication so that they don't spy in on the AR squad with her little megaphone or whatever, or however she does it, I'm just saying there's potential to do blank with this if she gets 6-star. She could do something really huge, okay? And so we out here popping, all right? And so if you don't give it to her, I mean, obviously you got 416, you got G11, you've got AN94, AK12, you know, they're part of the story as well. You've got so many, you got so much potential, man. That's what I love about GFL, potential. And they're really working it very well. And also, before we move on to the next thing, can my girl UMP9 get some love and get a mod out here? Because your boy got 2 UMP9s sitting at 1 hundo. So I'm going to need that. Thank you. So I'd love to see her get a mod. That'd be awesome. The next thing is going to be the Sangvis Fairy capture soon. A future collaboration with Sangvis Fairy, ? Yuzong accidentally spoiled. And so potentially there's something coming in the future where we collaborate with Sangvis Fairy. Maybe we have to fight against a different enemy. Or maybe I ain't gonna say nothing, but maybe blank is able to do blank with this other person, and then they blank blank. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I ain't trying to give no story spoilers, but I'm just saying y'all need to read the story because it's fire. All right, read the story, please, please. It's so good. But anyway, moving forward with that, then we have the vehicle system. It's a work in progress, but there isn't, but not much has been done yet. It sort of had a spin off into the expedition system, so maybe this expedition system that we were looking at up here, maybe vehicles have something to do with it. I don't know what they mean by vehicles. Maybe like the bikes, the motorcycles that were driven in Isomer, things of that nature. Maybe they do something with that. I don't 100% know. Yo, imagine a world. What if the expedition system uses vehicles and they're like, okay, you like can roll for vehicles and then you like get XYZ vehicles. And let's say you get like a 5-star vehicle. And then what if that 5-star vehicle can like level you like 10 levels in like 8 hours? And it doesn't matter what 10 levels. It could be like 90 to 100, 8 hours. Boom. If it's a 5-star vehicle. I'm just saying that could really decrease. Dude, that's so like far into left field, but it could decrease the entry of barrier by a lot, assuming you pull these vehicles or however these vehicles work. That's just something I thought of literally off the top of my head just now. And so I think that may play a part into it. I don't know what the vehicles are 100% talking about. Now, I have this Reddit post as well that I do want to take a look at. It's going to be covering the same other section, but there is different wording, so I do want to cover it. It says, in the future, their small event frequency will increase. And so basically, if they don't go from quarter 2 to quarter 4 for a major event and bump it down from quarter 2 to quarter 3, like I said, they might increase like mini events to like that are, not just boss bully, hopefully. And they'll increase like little mini events, and then we can like be playing the entirety all the way through. So I think that'll be really cool. Again, more side story for main story T-Dolls. Get to know your Raifu better. Hey, 9891, Groza, M60, Grape, all these people, check them out. I'm just saying, that'd be really cool to see that. Right here, this is what I was talking about earlier. The 6-star neural upgrade is already planned. Some 5-star dolls, mostly story-related, will receive upgrade soon, TM. And so this is something that I just thought about right now. What if they turn around and say, hey, M4A1, she's 5-star right now with mod 3. What if they push her even further and get her to 6-star? I'm saying that could happen too. SKK, which SKK is Shikikan. Shikikan, which is us, might receive an avatar or some more story attention in the future. Right now, it's all based around the AR Squad and 404 and, these other dolls. But maybe there's something for us. So I'm just saying it could be something to the effect where we turn around and we say, hey, we go here, we chill, and then what if it's like, hey, you can branch off into a different place and you can go over to this side and you can keep on going with Griffin, or you can go over to here and you can, if things are true, you can go with Sanguis Fairy and work with them. And then, you can obviously play both of them, or you can switch at any point or whatever. But then you could really like build the game and say, yo, we can have like guild towers or like guild wars, or like, we can build guilds, and then like, hey, it's going to be friendly battles where Sanguis Fairy goes off against Griffin, and it's just used as skill training or, field training. Like, hey, that stuff happens, man. And so this is all off the top of my head too. And so, they could just do that. It could be, different mechanics of the game, dude. I'm literally foaming at the mouth because there's so many things that they could do. And it's incredible, man. I love it. Then they have more live 2Ds, maybe coming to neural upgraded doll illustrations. So if they get live 2Ds, that's fantastic. Now AR-15 ain't gonna be the only girl on the AR team that has a skin. And, that's my takeaway from that. Then they say, and maybe live 2D for black card skin, and maybe live 2D for 5 black card skins. I think right now it costs 8. And so if that's the case, your boy is not going to buy any skins right now. I'm going to wait until they, change that. And so I'm going to be looking forward to that. Then, the Sanguis Fairy capture has news. It's story related or something else that they're not telling us. And so, hey, I'm 100% down with that. I believe it has to be story related because of blank person being over there and they won't blank. And so it's kind of upsetting me. But like, I'm so curious of how that's going to happen and I can't wait to see it play out. Then it says coming into winter event or after the summer event before the winter event, aka late this year, early next year, capture boss and non-boss. I don't know what that means. I ain't even gonna claim to know what that means, but it's gonna be lit. And then it says vehicle, maybe even mech. Now, one reason why I could see it being mech is because like this could be like an airplane, but like what if that was like something that, you know, Shikikan is controlling and it's like a Megazord from like Power Rangers or something. I don't know, dude. But anyway, you get the point. These are the things that I wanted to cover, talking about the entirety of the 3rd anniversary live stream. And TBH, that's just something that I was super excited for. And it was something that I was... the future of the game, dude. It's so high up there, man. Like, I can't wait for it, and I'm extremely excited for it. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching Shikikan Frontline Episode 8, starring our winner, Pastor Dumplings. Thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. This was live streamed at twitch.tv/Tuglow, and you can also catch this on the YouTube channel as well, or, you know, if you're watching it here on YouTube, I do appreciate it. If you do want to see more GFL content, you can subscribe to me at here at the YouTube channel. This is so weird because I'm doing it on both. I'm trying to think of it for both, but you can subscribe to me on the YouTube channel, !YT in the Twitch chat, or you can just subscribe to me here at YouTube. Also, if you aren't already, I do stream the podcast and GFL at twitch.tv/Tuglow. So if you want to hit me up with a follow there, that'd be great. Also, if you do have Amazon Prime and you'd like to support your boy monetarily for free, you can do so by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account and then subscribing to me over at twitch.tv/Tuglow. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Shikikan Frontline. I do appreciate it. I will see y'all in the next episode. Thank you all so much again. Much love. God bless. And peace out.